How you doing today? This is David Lucas back here over here again. Welcome back to my channel. And now I'm coming at you guys again today for another review, another specials review actually. And in this special reviews, we are in the holiday season now. If you can't tell by my shirt I'm wearing. One of the best times of the year, next to Halloween. Halloween's better. Guys, we are officially here on the holiday season, on the Christmas season or holiday season, whatever holiday you prefer. And if you guys remember last year, I did a bunch of the Christmas reviews, Christmas movie reviews during December, during the 25 days up to Christmas. So I'm back here again for another edition of the second year anniversary now of these Christmas reviews, which I'm going to hopefully be doing for almost every year long. And one of the first Christmas reviews that I'm going to be doing here is actually a Christmas movie that I grew up on, that I watch almost every single year as Christmas growing up, and to this day, I do find a lot of enjoyment out of it. That movie is none other than Arnold Schwarzenegger's Jingle All The Way. Guys, Jingle All The Way is a Christmas classic for me. It's definitely a Christmas classic in this house. I know a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people talk bad about it. It's a really bad score on Rotten Tomatoes and all that. I get it. I know it. But to be honest, I gotta call it where it is. And this is a movie that I watch all throughout Christmas while growing up as a little kid. This was always one of my go-tos as a kid growing up to watch for Christmas. And now even in my 20s, I'm still watching it every holiday season. The overall plot of Jingle All The Way, if you don't know already, is that it centers around a workaholic named Howard Langstrom and wants to make things up to his son, Jamie, and his wife, Liz. He promises to get Jamie the hottest toy of the season, Turbo Man, even though it's a Christmas Eve and the toy is practically sold out. As Langston hunts down the exclusive gift, he runs into the mailman, Myron, played by Sinbad, also father of the same quest. With the clock winding down, Langston's moral code is tested as he starts to learn the real meaning of Christmas. Now, if you are new to this channel, I usually do my reviews with the good and then go on to the bad of the movies. So, of course, as always, let's start with the good into this movie. Now, right off the bat, something I always loved about this movie, something that always got my attention, like right off the bat of this movie, even when I was little, was the very opening, was the beginning opening. It looks like a, Saturday morning's cartoon almost type of show going on. It kind of like the graphics look a lot like Power Rangers, always reminded me of like Power Rangers and all that. I just love how the whole thing is, the whole lettering, how stuff are in there, introducing the cast and all that. It's just a really good opening, I feel like, and it makes you put you really into like the feeling of this movie, and it makes you feel like, alright, this is the character, this is the hero that, is a big, hottest toy and everything, the Turbo Man. Also like too how the actors in the show look a lot like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad, what they would look like, because later on into this movie they end up dressing up as those characters. And quite honestly, I would watch that show. I'd watch that Turbo Man show any day. It looks pretty good to me. It looks like an actual show from that days. It reminds me, like I said earlier, that reminds me of Power Rangers a little bit. You know what I mean? It looks like a show that you'd watch in the early 2000s, late 90s. It seems like that kind of show, and I honestly hope one day they do eventually make a Turbo Man show, because I'd watch the hell out of that. And even after that intro beginning too, I still love it how we're getting those lettering fonts from like the show and stuff like that. We're getting the fonts as like the main cast and all that is revealed and all that in the show, in the movie. I really like that. It reminds me of like a superhero type of show or something like that. It's just really good and really adds to the aesthetic that this is a movie about a guy trying to get an action figure that's a popular show, and it honestly fits in my opinion. This movie is cheesy too, but it knows that it's cheesy. Throughout this whole movie, yeah, there's some crazy stuff that happens in this movie that you're like, okay, that's impossible to be real. But the movie sets it up to where you're like, okay, this is the very beginning of the movie. You're like, this is the kind of movie it is. It's an exaggeration of the real world. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's the real world, but it's a comic book exaggeration of it. And I just love that overall tone and feeling you have throughout this whole movie. And even too, I gotta say, I really always loved that comic book reference that we always have, is when we go like into Jamie's room and all that stuff, and it's all those like Captain America and X-Men stuff everywhere. I don't know, I always loved that. To me as a little kid, I always want my room to be like that, especially when I was little. I was like, I want my room to be like that. I want to have all the Captain America and Spider-Man and Batman posters all up in my room and stuff like that. I was like that a lot when I was little, so it really inspired me. That scene when he went into Jamie's room really inspired me to decorate the room the way I did. Most of this movie, you're pretty much following Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad's character, Myron, in here. And honestly, I love their camaraderie together. I love their relationship and chemistry they have. how they banter off each other. Sinbad, the way how he's in here as Myron, it's just great. Even as a kid, I always would laugh my ass off at him every time you're talking, when he would go crazy and start choking the lady. Not that it's funny he's choking a lady, but it's just funny how the whole scene kind of, progressed, and how he comes and it's like, oh, you shouldn't wear a fur coat there. Yeah. He maces him and all that. It's so great. I just love Sinbad in here and his whole relationship with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And just, to me, they bounce off each other really good. A scene that always stands out to me, especially on my rewatch of it, that honestly I love it when they go to that the radio show channel place, and then they start fighting in there, and the whole fake bomb issue, how he has a bomb in there that it wasn't real, and then he gave the cops a bomb thinking it was fake, and then it was actual real. Ugh. What a sick world we live in with sick people. I just love that line. I just love the whole thing with Sinbad in here. He's great. Say too, just the overall plot of him going and trying to find this doll that he promised he would give to his kid, at a certain day. And now it's Christmas Eve, and he realized it's the most hottest, thing in the world. And I mean, how many people have gone through that? I mean, I don't feel like you even need to be a parent to really go through something like that. For like a friend or a relationship or something like that. I feel like everyone has been through that moment when they're like, oh crap, and go last minute Christmas shopping and just cannot find what they want to find. And everyone's been through that. It's very relatable, and the whole montage scene of him going through from mall to mall to mall, getting into fights, beating up the Turbo Man thing because he's just so frustrated that he can't find it. I don't know. To me, I loved all that. To me, it puts me in the Christmas mood and the Christmas feeling. And Arnold, too. Just Arnold in general. I gotta point out that Arnold is great throughout this movie. It is probably one of my favorite Arnold movies. And I know that's saying a lot because Arnold's in so much of it. Terminator and some Predator. But Jingle All The Way is up there with it to me. I love him as there. Again, watching this as growing up, it always was like something I always looked at. I always loved him as Howard. Loved how he's rushing around everywhere and he's just building up the frustration to the point where he fights a deer even in this movie. I just love it. Especially do love the scene when he's on the phone and then the neighbor's on the phone. He's eating his cookies and then he's screaming, "Put that cookie down! No!" It is classic Arnold in that scene, and I just love it. The movie even has good character development in here, too. It has character development with Arnold, going back on Arnold. I like how it has character development when it starts out with him kind of a workaholic. He neglects his family, doesn't really pay attention to his family. He's rushing around over there, puts work first before everything. There's even a point where he's at work and he's on the phone with his wife, and he's talking to her like he's one of her customers and stuff like that because he's so in the work zone. And then as the movie goes on, he starts realizing, going more and more, like, this is my family. This is who, this is what's important to me and stuff like that. And even though at the end of the day he did get the Turbo Man down for his kid and all that stuff, he realized really all his son wanted was just his dad to spend Christmas with him, his dad to be there and be a hero to him. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, we had that big kind of character development moment where he's putting up the tree, they're all together, spending family together. And I don't know, to me, I feel like this is a good character moment where in a cheesy Christmas movie, we have some deep character moments in here where he learns to be a better father and a better husband. That whole ending parade scene, too, I think is just a classic. It's a classic ending parade scene. I love the whole set design of the parade. Even the set design of this whole movie, honestly, I think is great. It's very Christmassy. I love the whole set design of the costume stuff they have going on. And then Arnold in the Turbo Man costume acting as Turbo Man. I love that how he does. Like I said, he looks just like the Turbo Man from the show. You got Booster there, and then Sinbad dresses the Mentor, I think his name is, and he's fighting him, trying to chase after the doll. And at the end of the day, I think it's really sweet that he gets the doll and gets to give it to his son, even though he's gonna be spending the rest of Christmas in jail, and maybe the rest of a couple years, maybe like 5 years or so, in jail. At least I could give my kid a Turbo Man toy. Really, the only complaints that I can say about this movie is, again, I know this kid got so much hate, and I'm not saying anything about him as a person. Nothing to do with that as a person, but Jake Lloyd in here at Jamie, again, I feel so bad for the kid, but he just, I don't want to say anything mean, so all I'm going to say is I'm just not a fan of his acting in here. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just not a fan of his acting here. I'm not a fan of his acting in Phantom Menace. That's all I will say. Also, too, someone I just cannot stand in this movie that is very big of annoyance to me in this movie is the whole neighbor. I don't know. I can't stand that guy. Every scene he's in there, I just roll my eyes. And when he gets what he gets at the end of the movie and she throws the eggnog on his face, I'm like, thank God, someone deal with this freaking douchebag. Like, I just can't stand this neighbor. He's a big annoyance in the whole movie. So basically, my overall thoughts on Jingle All The Way, guys, is that Jingle All The Way is a classic Christmas movie that I remember watching as a kid. It's a big nostalgic movie with a good comic book type of feeling movie going on with cheesiness, but it understands this cheesiness and you accept the cheesiness when it's cheesy. And at times, it's a little bit ridiculous, but you accept it because this is the movie that is set up in the very first 5 seconds of the movie, so you accept all of that. There are a little bit of problems that I got with it, with a little bit of the acting and the neighbor in the movie, but that all being said, this is a great Christmas movie, and a Jingle All The Way is a movie that I watch every year on Christmas with the family. It's just a good start to the Christmas season, in my opinion, and it's just a good feel-good movie, especially if you like comic books or cheesy 90s movies. I feel like Jingle All The Way is the perfect Christmas movie for that. So my overall scoring as a Christmas movie, what I'm gonna have to give the Jingle All The Way, is a 8 out of 10. Yeah, guys, an 8 out of 10. I gotta give the Jingle All The Way. I love this movie. It's a great movie. I watch it every year for Christmas, no matter what people say. I know a lot of people don't like this movie, and a lot of people disregard this movie. I don't care. To me, I have love for this movie, and I probably always will have love for this movie as a action figure collector myself, and as a comic book fan myself, and just as a Christmas fan myself. This movie succeeds on all those levels. So guys, what do you think of Jingle All The Way? Let me know down in the comment section below, and let me know your thoughts on Jingle All The Way. I always like to know. Of course, if you like this video, or if you like this shirt, make sure you give this channel a like, and subscribe to my channel. I always appreciate your support all the time, and if you like this video, it really does help this channel grow and helps me grow a lot too, so really appreciate that a lot. And of course, guys, have a great day, and we'll see you next time on the next Christmas review.